Hi PPCers. Now what we're going to look at here is a good way to deal with the dilemma that you face when you're judging ads that have a higher click-through rate against other ads that have lower click-through rate but higher conversion rate. That's a very common scenario that we face when we're doing our ad optimization. And depending on priorities, it might be obvious which you go for. So if you're focusing on CPA alone, it's very likely that you'll want to favor conversion rate over CTR, at least unless the click-through rate difference is really extreme. But where you're going for volume, you've got to balance the two metrics in a more even-handed kind of way. Now, two parts to what I'm going to show you here, really. First, as a reminder, not to forget about the influence of search partner traffic when you're doing this kind of evaluation. So if you segment by search partners, then you'll see there's a massive difference in the results by Google search and search partner traffic. And even though the number of clicks for search partners is much lower, because the impressions can be so high, it really skews the overall metrics that you would see if you don't segment it. It's a particularly damaging effect because ads that get a higher click-through rate on Google search tend to get more impressions on search partners. Therefore, the search partner traffic, which has a lower CTR, sort of downweights those ads more, and it looks like, on the face of it, they've got a lower CTR. So all that to say, we're more interested in the Google search side. Now, doing that, in this case, we can see that some ads have a much higher click-through rate. There are basically 2 ads out of the 4 here that have a high click-through rate and low conversion rate, and another 2 that have a much lower CTR, but the high conversion rates up in the 20s. And there's a really good and quick way to combine those 2 metrics into a single one that does the job of telling you which ad overall will give you more conversions. And we'll use a custom column to do that. So what we're actually interested in is for a given number of impressions, which ad will be responsible for more conversions. And that handily does the job of combining CTR and conversion rate into one metric. So we can call it impression conversion rate. And the way to set that up is quite simple. All we need to do is grab conversions divided by impressions and format that as a percentage. So there's our new metric. If we just add that to the column, then we can use that new metric now to compare the ads, and it'll tell us the conversion rate of our impressions. Again, we'll want to look at that for Google search rather than the aggregated number, which would be a bit skewed. And it gives a pretty clear result in this case, that if what we're interested in here most is volume of conversions, we are better off with those high conversion rate, lower click-through rate ads.